Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. And here we are again, Mrs. Jenny Widman and Mr. Brent Widman. Today we have a fun one for you. We are going to go back and forth a little bit and ask each other questions. And I'll tell you where this idea came from. I'm doing a TED Talk. Well, I haven't done it yet, I guess, put it that way. But looking at doing a TED Talk. And I talked to an author who is out in Ohio. Her name slips me right now. I'll get it for you. But she sent me a list of questions to ask yourself, a list of things to go through. Kathy Armillis, so I wanted to say thank you for sending these to me because it really helps open up who you are, what you do, how you do it. And it's both life and business and what have you, because that's kind of the premise. And that's where I thought this would be a fun way to really get to know the inner workings of top level leaders, top level entrepreneurs, top level salespeople, if you will. And that's obviously who I have with me today is Jenny Widman, who fits under all of those titles, put it that way. So that's why I thought it'd be a fun little one. If you're ready to get started, I am ready to get started, ma'am.
Well, I just want to acknowledge my lovely shirt here for a second because, this past Sunday was a huge day in my world where the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And one of the quotes that Nick Sirianni said was, "Greatness does not happen without the greatness of others around you." And I loved that quote just because my husband, who's on this call, makes me better, makes me want to do better, and makes me great. So I love this idea that you brought to the table just to get to understand our inner selves, what ticks us off, what triggers us, and how we grew up. So I guess my first question I wanted to ask you.
Here we go. Buckle up, folks.
And it goes along with, I thought this was a good, question based off of the best team in the NFL winning the Super Bowl. But what is your idea of true teamwork? Where does teamwork come from? And what's your take on it?
I'm going to answer that twofold, I guess. In the past, I would have thought teamwork was you got to have the leader, you got to have the person, you got to have the guy or girl that's in charge. Like they have to do it and people follow them. As I've progressed in my career, this is where my answer lies now. Put the ego away. There is no one person on a team that is better than somebody else. And this honestly came from, well, it's come from the past, but it was reinforced last week when we saw Corey speak about Best Buy, where she said each one of those people have a superpower. And I wholeheartedly believe that now. I didn't in the past but it's probably been 10 to 15 years that to me, teamwork is everybody has their thing that they're really good at. We just have to fit each one of those. And I don't care if you have a title. I don't care if you are brand new. I don't care if you've been there 30 years without a title. It does not matter to me. Every single person, I am a true believer, is really good at something. And that's what teamwork is to me. There you go. Yeah. What's the one thing that could make the world a better place?
I guess so many times when I'm living life, working, talking to people, coaching people, and it happened to me this morning on a coaching call. It's like people always look at the negative and look at the wrong and what's not working and what are the problems, and my wife is frustrating me, my husband's frustrating me, the kids are so annoying. Like, I feel as if so many times people try to see that more than they focus on the positive or focus on what's going well or the good. And it's like one of my pet peeves too. It's like, if people would just be more in tune with what's going right in the world and what's going well for them and their family and their health and their ability to wake up in the morning and the ability to go for a run or work out or be with your kids or have enough money to have a jacket because it's -9 degrees outside, or, have a fresh slate and a fresh year, and not look at the past and compare to your past numbers or what you've done, and just truly go out there and give your best today. I really, truly feel like more people would live in joy and happiness, and more people could think like that. And it's frustrating to hear and to listen to, because I just want to help them see that is, your attitude is contagious, and whether that's you being negative or positive or bringing energy up in the room or bringing energy down in the room, like it shows for other people. And so if there's one thing, I think it's like focusing on what's going right instead of what's going wrong.
And let's break a couple barriers here for a second, because I know my answer on this question. Mm-hmm. Just to follow up to what you just said. Are you born with that, or are you learned? Is it learned?
You're not born with that, but your childhood and your experiences and your parents influence it for sure. And it's you have to work for it. Our mind wants us to keep us in that comfort zone and wants to keep us safe and complain and talk bad about others to make you feel better about yourself. I mean, it's what's out there. So it is definitely, you got to work for it. But at the end of the day, like, I challenge people to do it more so. And why are we not?
I'm 100% with you. I believe it is a learned thing that you can change your mentality when you so choose. Mm-hmm. Now, it's hard sometimes. I get it. But if you look for the good, you're going to find it. You look for the bad, you're going to find it. Whatever you want to find, you're going to find it. Mm-hmm. Challenge me on that. Anybody listening to this right now, you can challenge us on that if you want to, because I feel like we've both lived in that other way in the past, and mm-hmm. I've seen us both grow over time. So love that.
Were you going to say what yours was?
No, it's your turn to ask a question.
Okay. I thought you said that you had your own take on it or whatever.
Oh, you answered it. You absolutely answered it the same way. That's exactly my take on it. Because I think a lot of the population says it's just who I am, or that's just the way it is. And that's a false narrative is what it is. So, yep.
You're so disciplined, Brent. You're the most disciplined person I know. And so the question I'd love to know from you is, what is your biggest pet peeve being so disciplined?
Of being disciplined, or just pet peeve?
I mean, your pet peeve, but knowing you and how you operate, I mean, I think it's...
If I could eradicate the words "I can't" or "that doesn't work for me," I would take that out of the equation. That is something that drives me batty. I'm just going to use, because I know you're kind of talking about working out or work or whatever, but if I just simply use exercise as an example, and you can hear me getting fired up a little bit here on this. When I hear I don't have time, I'm too lazy, I can't make it fit in my schedule, I don't know how, whatever it is, when I hear these things, if that is my pet peeve, I remember when I first really started working out, I simply put a pair of shoes on and went for a 2-mile run. They weren't like fancy shoes. They weren't great. They weren't they're like cross trainers that were whatever. And I just went out and jogged 2 miles, and it hurt and it was hard. And I was what, maybe 30, 40 pounds overweight at the time in college and blah, blah, blah. And I just did it. And then what I did is I continued to try to do it. And what I mean by that is I didn't do it every day like I do now, but I knew that I had to. Days were hard, days didn't work. That's probably my biggest pet peeve, that you have a life that you can live that is fantastic, and you can be in shape and you can enjoy it, and you can walk up hills and walk up steps and walk in the mall and run with your wife and run with your kids and play on the floor and do all these different things simply because you work out a little bit. That's really it. So there you go.
What is your definition of a workout? I'm curious.
For me, it's different than it is for somebody else. Okay. For me, it's I have to run at least 4 miles a few times a week. So that's, I'll say 3 to 4. And I will lift weights for at least an hour. Like I don't take a lot of breaks. I built up to that now. That isn't just something that happened. Okay. Now, accountability is a big thing. You hold me accountable, whether you know it or not. My kids hold me accountable. It becomes who you are. So if I all of a sudden gained 30, 40 pounds, people would say, what's wrong with Brent? So that's an accountability. Whether we think so or not, that's in my mind, that if I go to somewhere, if I go to my parents' house, or if I go to a meeting, or if I go somewhere, and if I'm not the person I am today, well, that hurts my business and everything else. So I think that's, to answer as simple as form, as I don't care if you do 10 minutes. I don't care if you do 2 hours. I care if you do something consistently. And what I mean by consistently, you're doing it at least 4 to 5 times a week. I have lived by a rule since I was 23 years old that I never take more than 2 days off in a row. Never. I don't care if I'm sick. I don't care if I'm struggling. I don't care if my life isn't where I want it to be. So don't tell me in the last 26 years I have not gone through things that you are going through. That's where I draw the line. That's what I mean by that's my pet peeve. If I can do it, you can too. Simple as that. So
I love it. Even on vacation. I love it.
It's moving my workout to a sunny place or somewhere else is all it is, basically. Exactly. It's all it comes down to. What personality traits make you unique, Mrs. Widman?
The biggest one that I've been told the most in my life is how I bring the energy in rooms up. The one that I've been told the most is just what a people, how I'm good in a room with people. And I think that comes from one of the things that I emulate, one of the people I emulate in my life is the Energizer Bunny. And I even have one right here looking at me every single day. And the reason why is because what that symbolizes to me is that thing's always going. It's going and going and going, and it's not caring about what's happening around them or what obstacles come in their way. It's always positively charged. And that's been something that I feel makes me extremely unique because I've always tried to emulate that. I want to be that person that someone calls if they're having a bad day. I want to be that person that if we're in a networking meeting or we're in a group of people, I want to be known for having a smile on my face and being happy and truly caring about others. And I can't say when I'm in rooms, other people do that or have that in their forefront of their mind. But that joy, that happiness, that energy, whether I'm having a bad day myself or not, whether I'm feeling sick or I'm not, I just want to help people see that they can keep going. One example of where I feel like, I've done this many times in my life, but I was on a work trip and I had a big presentation to give at 8 a.m. the next morning. And I was in the emergency room at 3 a.m. with kidney stones. And I was physically, emotionally in so much pain. I mean, I remember screaming in my hospital bed, just in so much pain. And I said to myself, like, oh my gosh, I have 4 hours to get this together. Like, I have 4 hours to go and present in front of 50 people and motivate them and inspire them. And I need to get this together here. And I got home. Well, I got to my hotel room at like 4 a.m. and I put my alarm on for 3 hours from then. I got to sleep after some pain meds and stuff got in my system. But I went that next day and I put everything aside. No one knew I was in the hospital at 3 a.m. And I just gave my best effort. I gave everything I could in those 2 hours. And as soon as I finished, I went back to my hotel. I changed my flight for later and I napped. And I needed to rest for me. But I'd say that is, being that Energizer bunny and being that person that just keeps going no matter what's happening in my own life. I really, truly not to put that burden on others. And I get after it. So
I love that you said that. You make a conscious effort to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not just who you are. That's part of it, but it's what you've become. And you make the decision to be that person. It's not just, well, she's wired that way, which I feel like a lot of people believe. I love there's a Kobe Bryant quote one time that he was asked by a reporter why he doesn't take days off when he has like little nagging injuries and what have you. And he goes, well, that kid in the top row, their parents paid a lot of money to watch me play. Who am I to take a day off? And that's kind of what you said, that you showed up. They hadn't seen it before. You couldn't half it. You just showed up and you gave it your best. So that's pretty cool. I love that.
Brent, what are the biggest turning points in your life? And were they caused by aspirations or adversity?
Adversity, hands down. I mean, pretty much everything in my hot mess of a past life was caused by adversity. If you want to pick some of the big, I have quite a few of them and I won't be able to hit all of them because I don't remember them, all of them. We did not rehearse these questions, by the way, folks. They're just off the cuff. But the reason we're doing it is because we want you to think of these things as well. Adversity. I would say failing out of college right away, which led me to going to another college that in that room, the lady said 20% of you will not graduate. And so it turned from adversity to watch me. Gosh, divorce, right? It's you go through the to get to the what you really want in life and to set aside things. And what I mean by really want in life, what you're looking for, not what you hold on to, that if they don't have this, blah, 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 you have to change as well. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is it showed me that I need to change for somebody that you truly care about. And that was through adversity. Man, having Jack when I wasn't married and figuring out what the heck do we do now, and knowing that I had to get it together and get a real job. I was bartending at the time, get a real job and a real life and all those things that you do when you grow up. Taking the leap from having a real job to absolutely zero pay and not having a plan B, just deciding I'm going to do it, being a single dad at the time. Jack was 6. So you're seeing a pattern here. There's a lot of things that I've gone through, but it's really adversity. It's adversity that pushes me, hands down. Inspiration, yeah, it's there. Accolades are there. Things that happen are there. People patting you on the back are there at times. But it's really, I never want to go back to the places where I was a hot mess in the past. I want to push through, basically, is what it is. So,
well, it's like all your adversities, or some of them, that first started as adversities, you motivated to aspirations. Like, when that one girl told you, you won't hit number one in our company, you won't do it. And that's adversity. That's someone doubting you. That's someone believing in someone else more than they believed in you in that moment. And you use that as fuel to your fire to hit number one, So I truly do think that adversity can make a story out of someone. And for you, you've done it tenfold. You've done it time and time and time again,
I think I almost used to look for it. Glad I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I feel like I did live in that world.
Look for the good, Brent.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You can change it. Woe is me. Oh, you don't have to live in that world. You can find things like if somebody tells you you're not going to finish number one, it's like, watch me. What? Right? So it's good adversity, I guess, now. This one's kind of funny to me. When was the last time you cried and why?
Oh gosh, I cry all the time. I can cry on a Hallmark movie. I can cry in a commercial. I can cry in the drop of a hat. I can cry because Hudson says I'm his best friend. So I'm an emotional person, Brent. So, the last time I truly cried was resigning from our previous job.
Okay.
And I mean, it was a day of crying. January 15th, 2025. I don't think there was a moment in that day I wasn't shedding a tear. And I can, I'll start crying even thinking about it. But I just, when you're mourning what you once were, to know that you're capable of so much more, it's painful. And you go through a lot of emotions inside of what that time of the life gave you and the chapter in your life that gave you. And knowing that the next chapter and having so much faith in it is going to be so much different and better in some sense. And it doesn't mean that it's not painful with the relationships that you develop and the person you became in the process of it, but I still struggle with it a month later, but it gave me so much and I'm so thankful for it. And in my heart of hearts, I also know that I'm writing my own story and I'm writing my own next chapter. And I would bet on myself more than anybody else would. And I know I won't fail. And I do think I think crying is extremely healthy because it helps release energy inside yourself that it's okay to feel the feelings that you're feeling.
Love that. I did not expect that answer, what you just said. I thought it was just going to be the last Hallmark show you watched or the last commercial that came on the TV. Or she's an emotional being, folks. But that was a really good, just bringing what you built over time and the person you became over time in the past, and then knowing that you're betting on yourself to take a leap. I think that can live in so many people if they just take the chance to get out of the uncomfortable and take the leap and do it. That's pretty cool. That's a great message. Love it.
Who is the most unique person you know?
Oh, goodness. Most unique. Wow. I don't know if I can really answer that one. Do I know people that are unique? Can you help me with this?
Well, what's your definition of someone like unique in general?
My mind goes right to flamboyant or walks their own walk or whatever it is. I feel like there's so many. So if I take the flip side, gosh, if I would say the most unique, the person that really comes to my mind is Carla. Yep. One of my great friends. I tell the story when we started at the past company we were at. We started at the same time and we had our sales thing, and she came in with her top hat and her sequins. And that's what I picture when I picture unique.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but she has always gone by. She's very outspoken, very beat of her own drum, very this is who I am. But also the unique side is she is with her husband that she has been with since they were 16, I believe, built their house together, built their life together, kids, grandkids. Like, that is unique in today's world. And she is also somebody who will, on one side, tell you the way it is and you need to do it. But she's also the other side that will cry at the Hallmark show and the commercial and everything else because she gives so much and loves you so much, but you got to earn it. She doesn't just give it. That would probably be it. She is probably the most unique from top to bottom, left to right on the when I say the spectrum from here to here, that you can get so many things from her, which is what makes her her, which is pretty cool. So, yeah. Huh. What's the biggest adversity that you have ever overcome?
I could take this two ways right now. Yeah. I'd say adversity that I put myself in would be door to door. I did door to door sales for 6 years of my life, and you learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about who you want to be and who you don't want to be. And you learn how people treat others without even knowing who they are or what they are doing, and making preconceived assumptions. And it can be an ugly, ugly world. And I've been cussed at, yelled at, people just judging me without even knowing who I am because I'm at a doorstep. And it's a lot of life lessons. I like to say that, when you actually do door-to-door sales in life, you get your masters at people. You have to learn how to make a good first impression. You have to learn how to get them smiling within 20 seconds. You have to learn what it takes to get someone to open up to you, or you're getting your door slammed in your face time and time again. And I just kept asking myself, what's working? What's working with what I'm doing right now? Because clearly things I'm doing are not working. So I need to change my approach, and I need to learn. I need to get better at this. And one thing that adversity taught me time and time again is that there's no reason to prejudge people. There's no reason to think the worst out of others. There's no reason not to say hi with a smile in an elevator when you're in the elevator together. Like, I know that experience of going door to door helped me in so many ways just overcome my own negativity or my own self-worth, my own insecurities. I saw people that truly was interested in what I was doing and was nice to me and was so polite and understanding and caring. And I had some of my best dinners with families I just met at the doorstep. And I also met families that I would never want to emulate or be like, or, they're in this we call them Mrs. Jones neighborhoods, big brick, houses that are $1 million, and they are just so unhappy, and people that are just miserable in life. And I learned that that's someone I don't want to be when I'm older. So, I feel like I could go on and on with lessons I learned, but I go back to getting my master's at life, going door to door, because it teaches you so much about how to overcome anything that is thrown your way.
Can you give me just a brief, or for the listeners, when you say door to door, where you were those 6 years and how many hours a day you had to work, so they can wrap their minds around what it actually means to knock on doors, and how many a day?
At the time, I lived in Orlando, Florida, and I wasn't told what my location was going to be until we were in Nashville, Tennessee, and about to head off to our territory. So, my first summer was Preston County, West Virginia, which is like 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half away from WVU, but middle of nowhere, West Virginia. Second summer was Tennessee. Third summer was Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. Fourth summer was Kentucky, Lexington, right outside of Woodford County is my county. Fifth summer was Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley. And sixth summer was right outside of Chicago. So we got placed at random, and I led a team of 50-ish people each summer after my first summer, and, went door to door. We worked 80 hours a week. After my first summer, I was working 100 hours a week because not only was I expected to do the deal from 7:59 to 9:31, then I had stat calls and leadership calls. And then I had to give all my stat reports to my leader at the time. And so I was in bed by 11:30, 12 o'clock, but woke up at 5:59. So, one of the things I used to say is being tired makes a coward of us all. And so I was very disciplined that I had to be in bed no later than midnight, even though that's only 6 hours. But no matter what I was dealing with or what I was dealing with my people underneath me, like I had to make sure that I took care of myself because I couldn't be there for others if I didn't. But, that's a whole nother can of worms. But the people that I led, I had to go into jails and get people out of jail. I had to deal with people inflicting pain on themselves and cutting themselves in the summertime because they were so unhappy. And there were a lot of things that I saw that I never thought I would see. So I just say it makes me a better overall human having to be there for others and making tough decisions and dealing with it. But yeah, it was I learned what work ethic was, that's for sure.
I just wanted to put perspective on 7:59 to 9:30, Monday through Saturday, and then still doing stuff on Sunday and at night and all the stuff. So yeah, just what perspective door to door people really go through. That isn't just your door isn't the only one they're knocking on that day. So yeah, give them lemonade, let them go to the bathroom, give them food, whatever. Yeah, nice.
I mean, I get it. It's 2025. Like there's some not so good people out there, and you do need to be careful, and you do need to, stay safe for sure. And I understand that. However, there are some really good college students out there just trying to make a living for themselves and promoting really great products. And so who am I to judge someone if I feel safe and things are good? I always want to be that helper.
Love it.
So I'd love to know, Brent, what is your worst memory that you have? And what did you learn from the situation?
The worst memory that I have. It's kind of the worst and a good one all at the same time. I'm just going to jump on the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay.
So as you've heard the story on this before, I've been divorced twice. And my first one, Barb said to me that she wanted to get divorced. And the reason that memory is the worst one to me, because we had Jack, who was 3 at the time. And I thought divorced dad was never going to get to see his son. I didn't cry over the divorce. I cried because I thought I wasn't going to get to see Jack. He was my bestie. He was my buddy. We did everything together. The park, every day, every morning. I ate dinner. I mean, we were errands, everything. And that crushed me to think that I wasn't going to get to spend time with him. And that's why I say it's a good thing, though, too, at the same time, because she said, I will never do that to you. I know how much you two mean to each other. And the words of wisdom that I hang on to today that she also said in that moment was, remember, it's not about us. It's always about Jack. And that has held true for years. When you want to be mad or whatever. It's not ever like there's no reason to be mad. You figure things out, and that held true. It keeps me with every other relationship too, that it's what's best for the people involved, not what's best for you. And that's really it. Yeah.
I didn't think you'd go that way. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the first thing that popped into my head. What will you never give up on?
I mean, I guess the first thing that came to mind when you said that was myself. Like,
okay, that's all right.
And where that led me next as I was processing was my kids and my husband, my family. I guess if anything this past year, what it's taught me is if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of others the way that you've always wanted to. And I'm just never going to give up on myself again. And I felt like I did. I felt like there was a period after I had Hudson where I gave up on who Jenny was and who I am inside. And I was caring for my son and my stepchild and my husband and my team. And I was letting myself go. And in turn, who I was becoming was someone I didn't even recognize, like someone that I didn't even like and admire and want to be. And after making the decision on me and spending time for myself and getting myself healthy, now I realize I am the person that's never going to give up on my kids and my husband and my family, because like I'm truly happy inside. And it's the woman in me that I am now. Like my kids, ask how many steps I'm at or what my protein's at, or expect me to play with them in the water for 3 hours or outside at the park and run around. And the old me would have been exhausted and made excuses as to why I'm not. And, I took my kids to the park. They can go play. That's not for me. And now I can be truly present with them. So to answer your question, I'm not ever going to give up on myself again. And in turn, that's a ripple effect with everyone else.
Sure is. Love it. That's a good answer. I like it.
I wanted to ask the military question because I saw it and I know it's definitely made you who you are today. So if you can share with people like who in your family, what family members of yours were in the military, what they learned from it, and then what did the experience of them being in it and then you being in it teach you?
So I'll give you, I was in the military for 6 years. I was in the Army National Guard. It was artillery, which means we just worked on howitzers, big guns, basically. I don't know how else to describe it.
Why did you choose Army and Air Force, like all the other branches? Was there a reason?
There's no story behind this. I was out with a couple friends one night when I was 19, and I had just failed out of my first college. And they asked me they were both in guards, and they said, have you ever thought about going in the guards? And I said, I've thought about it. That was the extent of the conversation. And it was probably 2 days later that I had a recruiter knocking on my door. And that was that. I really, in my mind, it wasn't about joining the guards. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I just wanted to get back in shape because at that time, again, I was probably 30 pounds overweight after I graduated high school and wasn't really doing anything. Yeah, that's really all it was. There was no rhyme or reason. So I was in that for 6 years, Army National Guard, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, what have you. I didn't even know this when I joined. My dad was in the military. He was in the Army.
You didn't know that before you joined?
No clue. No idea. My grandpa was in the military. I believe he was in the Army as well. No idea that he won. Since after my brother graduated college, so he was in college at the time I joined the guards. After he graduated, he actually joined the Army because they paid his student loans back, but he owed them 4 years. So he was stationed in Colorado and then had to go to Bosnia as well for a while. So it just had this, it was kind of cool to find out different things, how it all came about.
Yeah.
What it taught me, I don't know what it taught my dad and grandpa. I should probably have that conversation with my dad just to see. My brother, he touched on how it taught him, it helped him find his way, is what it did, because he didn't know what to do after college. And the military helped him find his way. For me, this sounds really funny, but the thing it taught me most is that you can do things when you are tired.
Mm.
There were times that we would be up for about 20 hours to 22 hours, or they would wake us up in the middle of the night, or they would just have us do things that are just random, right? Or we'd go for a 20-mile march or a 6 to 10-mile run and shower and go do the rest of your day, and you would be dog tired. And they would make you do something and you didn't have a choice. And that's what taught me that when I'm tired at times is what it is. I mean, you just get up and do it anyway. And that's this thing. That's what it taught me, which is crazy to think about that. But I remember specific times where I was cleaning a weapon. We can't call them guns in the military. They're weapons. And I was sitting against a wall and I fell asleep as I was sitting there, and the drill sergeant came over and kicked me. Like, not hard, not in the head or anything like that, but kicked me, woke me up, and he told me to start beating my face. And all that meant is start doing push-ups. And he said, start beating your face, not till you're tired, till I'm tired. And I just had to sit there and pump out push-up after push-up. And he just watched me. That's all he did. And I was so tired, and I'll never forget that. So it's things like that. I guess I'm rambling here, but if that helps, put it that way. So yeah, that's what it taught me. Just do. Yep. Who do you think is the greatest leader you know? What makes them a great leader?
I think there's a different answer to this, like in different stages of my life, you know, like currently the greatest leader in my life for us is you. And I would say that because you are a true practitioner, you have every area in your life dialed in, you make priorities, you're caring, you are thoughtful, you're there, you're a great listener. Like, I want Hudson to grow up just like you and disciplined, hard at it, hard to impress, like all of it, you know, and I couldn't ask for a better support system for myself. And you truly make me better. And you're a leader of our house. And so I would say you currently, for sure.
Would not have guessed that by any means. I thought you might go with an AJ or a Rao. That's what I was going
to. Mark was the person I was thinking of for me in that stage of life that I was in.
Love it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's go with, what is the best adventure you have ever been on in your life?
Gosh, best adventure. I feel like I'm not like this big adventurous dude. I'll say yes to pretty much anything if somebody asks me.
Oh, man.
This is going to sound really funny. Again, the first thing that pops in my mind is the answers I'm going with. Well, it's the ultra marathon.
What is that? What'd you do?
So it was a 2.5 mile loop in Missouri. One of my friends asked me, DBA, and he poked the bear a few times to get me to finally do it. And it was a 24-hour basically run, or 24 hours from 6 on Friday night to 6 on Saturday night. And you just kept going and kept going and kept going. And the adventure for me was, I was scared when I first said yes, because I didn't know. I mean, think about running. I ended up doing 72 miles. And you needed nutrition, you need water, you need food, you need just things. And I think that's the uncertainty. That was the adventure for me. I knew I would push my body to go as far as it would. That is what it is. But it was all the other uncertainties, whether it was shoes and clothes and how cold it's going to be and what do you
Weather.
do?
Mhm.
Yeah, weather. It's all the stuff that you're not sure that you can control, but you can't because you've never done it. And the reason I say that, I guess I can tie this in with a lesson, that's what holds a lot of people back from doing things. And that's what held me back for quite a while until we went to that wedding. And I finally was like, screw it. And then I finally signed up on Christmas Eve, 4 months before the run. Yep. I was just sitting there on a call at my parents' house. And that's when I signed up. I paid the entry fee. And then I had to figure out all the questions and Google all the stuff and eat and run and train. And I would do 2 a days, 10 miles in the morning, 10 miles at night, 20 miles in the morning, 10 at night. On HUD's birthday that day when the parents were here, I went out and did a 30-mile run just because. So that was kind of the adventure.
Which I almost called the police for a search warrant because I was so scared.
I was gone for 6 hours. Like I just kept going. It was like, I feel pretty good. I just kept going. So I just did. And I had a banana and oatmeal. Like that was my 30-mile run nutrition. And I knew that wasn't sustainable if I was going to go further. So that was probably the biggest adventure, which, yeah, I guess. Put it that way. All right.
That answer, but I love it because that was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's an adventure. It's things that you say yes to that maybe you wouldn't normally say yes, but you do it. And now I would, if somebody asked me again, I'd probably do it. It wouldn't be perfect. I wouldn't know how, but I would just do it. Mm-hmm. You figure it out. Last question. Who's your hero and why?
There's so many ways. There's so many people that like come to mind for sure. But I'll say my dad is my hero, and the support from my mom for him too. You know, they came to America with nothing. We lived in a red roof inn when I was born. And they just wanted to give my brother and I a better life. And they did. Our family lives in England, and there's just not much opportunity where they grew up in terms of where my dad saw his potential and where he could be. And I lived in 6, 7 different states until I was in 3rd grade. And that was because my dad just, had to go to different jobs until he found a home. And he's the hardest worker I've ever seen, especially when I was growing up. And he just always knew there was more out there for us. And he never gave up. He never gave up on the American dream. And I'm so grateful because in 7 days, they are picking up and moving from Florida to Minnesota just to be by me and our family and Elle and Hudson. And I just feel so lucky because of it. But my dad teaches me selflessness, teaches me gratitude, teaches me positivity, teaches me being an example, being there for everyone, caring, happiness, fun. He's just a great example for me in the working world too. So
that's what I figured was going to be the answer.
My last question for you.
Oh, we're doing one more.
What is life's biggest lesson?
Oh gosh, life's biggest lesson? Again, the first thing that comes to my head is you can. I don't need to go into a long-winded answer on that. But if you want to start a business, you can. If you want to marry your person, you can. If you want to be a fantastic parent, you can. If you want to live in a world where you put really good things into your mind and you live in that, you can. If you want to have a fantastic work ethic, you can. If you want to get up early and work out, or I don't care if you do it at night, you can. If you want to make money, you can. If you want to love, care, understand, be patient, live in a world that you take things for what they are and don't judge, you can. You can have all of the things. You can. You just have to choose to do that. And I wholeheartedly believe that because I was the guy that couldn't, and now I can. And that's why I believe it. So if that helps.
Love it. This
Thank you.
Fun.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this, because I wanted to show you, and not you, Jenny, but people listening to this, watching this, that you can be really, really good at what you do. You can be a fantastic leader, but you can also have a heart and care about those people around you. And that's why I thought this would be a fun little exercise to show the insights of what the way top people, and I don't mean that in a bad way, in an egotistical way. I mean that in a you've earned it and you've done it and you've put the work in way, that you can be top of the game, top leader, because I feel like that's where we are. And you can have a really fantastic life on top of it. You don't have to sacrifice those things that you care about most. And I wanted to show insights to that, is why I thought this would be a good idea. So yeah, thank you for doing this. And thank you for everybody listening to it. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.